Let's now discuss application processing. In Medi-Cal, the application date is the first date of eligibility for services. Citizens are now required to prove their citizenship and identity when applying for Medi-Cal. Formerly, this was not the case. Rather, individuals could just sign an affidavit to attest to the fact that they were citizens of the United States. Following enactment of the Deficit Reduction Act of 2005, Medicaid applicants and beneficiaries across the country must show proof of their citizenship as well as their identity. This can be done in many different ways, the most common of which are to provide a birth certificate and a driver's license. Individuals can also provide naturalization documents and other forms of identification. There is an entire list of documents on the Medi-Cal website, as well as on the website for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The state performs a birth records match for individuals born in California, thereby relieving many applicants of the obligation to produce such documentation. Finally, the eligibility processing must take place within 45 days or 90 days if there's a disability determination. We talked a little bit about this earlier, but I want to reiterate that fact. As you provide assistance to your clients applying for Medi-Cal, you'll soon come to find that it often takes more than 45 days for an eligibility determination. It is up to you as an advocate to follow up on the application to ensure that it is processed in a timely manner, and if there is a delay, to find out why and how it can be resolved. While Medi-Cal eligibility begins with the date of application, a beneficiary can also receive coverage for some medical expenses prior to her application. Retroactive benefits offer Medi-Cal coverage to an individual who would have been eligible for the program in any of the 3 months prior to her application. Let's take, for example, an individual who applied and was found eligible for Medi-Cal in January, but received hospital services in October of the previous year when she was uninsured. If she would have been eligible for Medi-Cal in October, the woman can request and receive retroactive coverage for those medical expenses as long as they were provided by a Medi-Cal provider. To ensure retroactive coverage, she must make the request within 1 year of the application date. Let's move on to notice and hearing rights. Notices must be provided to applicants and beneficiaries so that they are aware of their eligibility status as well as what benefits they can expect. Under federal and state laws, adequate notices must describe the intended action, that is, what the state is going to do, the reasons for the action, the legal support for the action, that is, why eligibility is denied or why the service is not being provided, and where the reason for that decision may be found in the law. Additionally, the notice must explain that Medi-Cal applicants and beneficiaries have the right to challenge an action or inaction through an administrative hearing. The notice has to describe how individuals can request a hearing. It also must explain the right to be represented. This means that individuals can either attend a hearing on their own or be represented by an advocate, an attorney, or even a friend or family member. The notice also must explain the right to continued benefits pending an appeal. So in cases where an individual's eligibility was terminated, the notice should discuss the right to continued benefits while the appeal is being processed. This is usually referred to as aid paid pending. Generally, the notice must be sent at least 10 days prior to the action occurring, whether it involves a denial of services or a denial of eligibility. In terms of the hearings themselves, the beneficiary must be given a reasonable notice of the time and place of the hearing. This allows a beneficiary to prepare for a hearing, seek representation, and make arrangements to get to the hearing. Note that administrative hearings are very different than court cases. An administrative hearing, or quote, a fair hearing, is less formal meeting before an administrative law judge. An administrative law judge is an impartial hearing officer who hears the evidence and makes a decision about the case based on that evidence. Note that there's no jury in administrative hearings. There may also be a representative from the county public social services offices and perhaps a county eligibility specialist who represent the state side. The beneficiary and possibly an advocate or an attorney present the beneficiary's case. Before the hearing, individuals have the right to view their files and see the state's information. The beneficiary also has the right to bring witnesses, to present testimony, and the right to cross-examine the state's representatives and any individuals or witnesses brought by the state to support their case. If the beneficiary does not have access to transportation to get to and from a hearing site, assistance with the cost of transportation must also be provided. So, that is it in terms of eligibility principles, application processing, retroactive coverage, and notice and hearing rights. If you have any questions, please go to the Health Consumer Alliance website, www.healthconsumer.org. On the website, the overview of the Medi-Cal program describes in detail what we've gone over today. There are also numerous fact sheets and consumer brochures on the Medi-Cal and Healthy Families programs. The consumer brochures are available in English and also several other languages. The National Health Law Program website is www.healthlaw.org. This website also has a lot of information for advocates, including legal analysis and policy advocacy strategies on Medicaid, S-CHIP, and other healthcare programs. Finally, there's a website designed to assist middle-income health consumers seeking access to healthcare services. That website's called www.healthcarecoach.com. Again, my name is Manju Kulkarni. Please do not hesitate to call me or my colleague Randy Boyle if you have any questions. We hope that you will find this webcast helpful to your work. Thanks so much for viewing it today.